Burning alive. It's one of the worst ways someone can die. If you're lucky, the carbon monoxide poisoning displacing the oxygen in your lungs will be what kills you. Or perhaps the initial pain of the fire will cause your body to go into primary shock as your organ functions cease. Both are far better fates than the unbelievable pain of being consumed by flames. Fortunately, humans do not catch fire too easily. Touching a hot stove just leaves us with a painful reminder not to do it again. But what if you found yourself inexplicably growing warmer and warmer until the sweat on your head begins to boil? The room's temperature is fine, and so are your clothes. Sadly, it's the last observation you make before you're suddenly burning alive with no explanation. A victim of spontaneous human combustion. Spontaneous human combustion happens when a person bursts into flames as the result of a chemical reaction within their bodies that requires no external heat source. Sometimes the reaction is so violent the victim is nearly consumed entirely. Spontaneous human combustion is a very rare occurrence, fortunately, with just over 200 cases in known history. Investigations have provided arguments that suggest that victims may have been ignited by alternative fuel sources such as alcohol, or an external ignition such as a lighter or a cigarette in some situations. For other victims of spontaneous human combustions, their deaths remain a fascinating mystery. One of the first documented cases of spontaneous human combustion was the death of Nicole Millett, who burned to death in her chair in 1725 in Reims, France at her home. Her husband was quickly accused of murder and subsequently arrested. Later at the trial, he was acquitted when a young surgeon named Nicolas Lecat convinced the court that spontaneous human combustion was the culprit and that the husband was innocent. In the end, the court had deemed with their final verdict that Nicole's untimely death was an act of God. Another notable death involving spontaneous human combustion involves John Ivan Bentley, a retired doctor living in Coldersport, Pennsylvania. Last seen alive on December 4, 1966, a family friend let himself into the Bentley home to check up on John, who had recently turned 92. Identifying an unusual smell, the family friend discovered the charred remains of John Ivan Bentley in the upstairs bathroom. A scorched right leg was all that remained of the good doctor, as the rest of his body had been reduced to ashes. Investigators were baffled by the fact that the room Bentley was found in had no feasible way he could have ignited himself, and that the intense flame of the heat somehow did not spread, only leaving the doctor's walker and the bathtub lightly scorched. The latest casualty of spontaneous human combustion lies with Michael Faherty, who died in his home in Clearview Park, Ballybane, located in Ireland. Michael was 76 years old and police found his body on December 22, 2010. Forensic experts were left baffled when they concluded that the body of Mr. Faherty was nearby a lit fireplace, but the fire from it was not the cause of death. The fire only directly damaged Michael's body, the ceiling above him, and the floor underneath him. With no foul play expected, an Irish coroner ruled Michael's death to be the result of spontaneous human combustion. Despite these cases, spontaneous human combustion has never been conclusively proven by science. Even with the advent of smartphones, spontaneous human combustion is still an incredibly rare form of death that is not well documented. While some critics find it easy to argue against it, a few charred corpses will continue to defy explanations and leave mysteries unsolved.